You didn't have to say
The
that.
gay girl.
You didn't have to
The
say
Wesley Girls Senior High School girl.
You didn't
Oh, no,
have to add
is
that.
Wesley Girls Senior Secondary School or what?
It's Wesley Girls Senior High School.
It used to be Wesley Girls Senior Secondary School.
Was it ever like that?
Well, it was senior secondary school. We went to senior secondary school.
And which people went to high school?
You.
But you and I, what's the difference?
There's a very big difference. You went to high school.
And you went
When
to
you were going
secondary
to
school.
SS, they were calling it high school. Me, when I went to SS, they were calling it SS. That's
So
why it's called SS.
Were you also junior secondary school?
Yes,
instead of
junior
high
secondary school. Yeah, so I went to junior secondary school, and I went to senior secondary school. So I went to JSS.
And you went to SSS.
And I went to SSS.
Wow,
Yes.
old man.
Oh, I'm not that old.
Now then when it gets to that, you're not that
I'm
old.
not that old. I just have small gray hair in my beard. I'm not. That doesn't mean I'm old like that. It doesn't mean I'm a small boy. I'm a small boy.
The last time when I was here for random conversations, I think we were talking about something like sleepover and the rest and whatnot.
Yeah.
Well, there's a trend today about a young lady who engaged in some form of a threesome with some people.
Really?
And then, it was videoed. So
It was videoed?
Yes. So I think that you see how you were talking so much about the fact that the disadvantage for the guys would be, like the girl dying. I think for the girl too, you could also be videoed and before you realize. But I don't know whether she was aware of the whole incident.
Have you seen the video?
I couldn't watch it.
But you've seen the video?
I've seen it, but I couldn't watch it. I couldn't bring myself
Did
to
the
watch
girl
it.
look like she knew what she was doing? Did she look like she was aware?
I didn't watch it long enough to see that. But
wow.
Yes.
But those who are distributing and circulating those videos are engaged in a criminal activity.
Yeah.
Because it's criminal to actually distribute, forward, share pornographic material like that, especially if it involves, these kinds of things, right?
Yes, and her pictures are all around. I think I heard somewhere that she's
so sad.
actually in one of the universities here in Ghana.
Wow.
And that she is in level 100. That is not confirmed yet, but
wow.
So
and she engaged in a sexual act, and it was filmed and video. What is it with this generation and all of these?
Nothing can be
sex
kept
tapes and all of that. I don't. Okay.
A secret.
So it's trending.
Yeah, it
and
is.
People are talking. So what are people saying about it?
Well, you'd have those who are obviously for the side that she has the right to engage in whatever she wants to engage. She just did not have to be filmed. And then we have those who are saying, what if she knew that she was being filmed and they don't know how it got out? Maybe she and the people, the guys, because there were two guys actually, it was her and two guys. They don't know how it got out and all of that. But you have different conversations about it. And her pictures are there. And then there are also people saying that she looks really innocent. She doesn't. I think the whole sketchy thing about this was because there were two people involved. We are still in a very conservative culture here in Ghana, and so for you to...
Rightly so.
Rightly
so.
Why? But you think there's a problem with that?
Well, if you become too liberal, then you descend into madness.
Okay, so it's good that we still have a very conservative
Exactly,
culture.
it is. Because if we allow too much liberalism, I don't know if that's a word, but that's my opinion. I mean, you're entitled to yours. I've got nothing against being liberal, right? I've got nothing against being liberal because being liberal, of course, we have freedoms, we have rights, and all of that. And so we should have the right to do what we want to do. But your rights should come with responsibilities, right? And if we allow certain things, if we become too liberal about certain things, then we begin to descend into the realms of absurdity because we've allowed everything to happen. And we've seen it happen in certain societies, right? So I'm more inclined towards, being conservative. But of course, there are certain conservative things too, which just don't, make sense because then we are doing everything Frenchim, and all of that. So I think you should be somewhere in the middle. Like not too conservative, not too liberal. Because if it's extreme conservatism, right? If it's too extreme, then we have a problem. And in politics, there's this, you're on the left, you're on the right.
Right, yes.
Right? So if you are too much on the right, the far right, then it's a problem. If you are too much on the left, then it's a problem. And nowadays, those on the far left are descending into the realms of absurdity.
It's not that they are descending; they are in the
You
realms
know,
of
so
absurdity.
yeah, it's rightly so. Ghana is a conservative. We live in a conservative society, and some of the things should stay the
I
way
mean,
they
but
are.
yes, if it should stay, I think it was an act that was consensual. For me, it looked like it was consensual,
Well,
and so I don't think she's the only one who should have been training. We should also know the other
the guys,
parties
right? The
involved.
guys, right?
Yeah,
You
exactly.
see, and that's one of the problems also of a lot of feminists who say the patriarchal society, which is associated with conservatism. Did I pronounce it well?
Conservatism. Just
Conservatism.
avoid the word.
Or being conservative, right? Because they say, okay, then it means the patriarchy is ruling, and because of the patriarchy, why are we focusing on the girl? And then people will be calling her all kinds of names. She's a slut. She said this. She said that. And then the guys are going scot free. That's also problematic, right? And
Are you
that's
a feminist?
I'm not a feminist.
Really?
No, I'm not. I'm not a feminist. I believe in women's rights. It doesn't make me a feminist,
Okay.
right? But I believe that women have rights, and women's rights should be respected, and women can do equally well in any field that they endeavor, just as well as a man can. I believe that women should be accorded the same respect, the same opportunities, and everything that a man would, because we are all equal. All of us are human beings. You have a brain, I have a brain. You can think, I can think. You can be behind this microphone, I can be behind this microphone. It should be
Okay.
like that, yes.
But
And
is that not what feminism is all about then?
well, that
So,
is
so
what
what are you running away from when it comes to that term?
toxic feminism.
Toxic
Yes,
feminism.
toxic. There's toxic feminism.
What is toxic
The
feminism?
feminists who believe that all men are bad.
Are there women that believe all men are
Yeah.
bad?
There are women who
Or
believe
there are
that
women that
all
can-
men are bad, and everything is about. And because it's been a patriarchal society for such a long time, everything like is and the men are doing this, and so like they are putting down men, essentially,
Do you think that we have that rampant in society today?
in society.
Where we are now not even in a balanced society, but we are having more women have more voice, more power, even more than men. Because I was in a discussion with
Ghana,
someone,
mhm.
and he was, it's interesting, this topic, he was saying something about how there were a group of NSMQ students, they
Yeah.
went for national science and math quiz,
Yeah.
and then the girl was awarded a scholarship. And he thought that the girl was given a scholarship because she's a girl, because all of them went for the supposed
Well,
NSMQ.
that's affirmative action.
Yes, but he feels like, why should she be given and then the boy should not be given? He feels like feminism has been centered so much,
Yeah.
equality has been centered so much,
Yeah.
that now boys are now on the lower part where we should also be fighting for men to also
Yeah.
have equal opportunities. Do you share that same belief?
Well, it depends. I think in our part of the world, not quite, but in other jurisdictions, in the West, when you go to the West, men are increasingly being vilified, to the extent that the slightest, least accusation against you and all of that, even before investigations go into it and all of that, you are crucified. And we've seen it happen. I mean, we saw something like that happen in the case of, Amber Rose and Johnny Depp, Jonathan Majors and his girlfriend, and all of these things, are happening, where the Me Too movement, started and all. I mean, it's all good. Of course, no woman should have to undergo any kind of sexual harassment or anything like that. But what I'm saying is that when allegations are made, let the allegations be investigated and let somebody be innocent until they are proven guilty. But sometimes when some of these things happen, even before the person is proven guilty or innocent, they lose everything,
But
So
I know
that's what I'm talking
situations
about,
like
toxic.
that.
And one of the reasons why I also say that I am not a feminist, is
Okay.
that if I were a feminist, I'll be in full support of affirmative action.
Okay,
Right,
so
and
that
you-
means you're not in full support of
Let
feminist
me
action.
describe it this way. Before someone out there who is listening misconstrues what I'm saying, this
Today
is
it's like I'm your host, and
this
you
is-
are the one giving me.
this is a personal this is a personal view. So
Okay.
I think affirmative action will be, let's give women more opportunities. Let's put women in more positions. Let's give women more this, more that. I'm all for it, right? Because for a long time women have been marginalized, women have been put down, women have been looked down upon, and that is not right in any way, shape, or form. It is bad. But in certain instances, I would go for meritocracy over, pushing the affirmative,
Where the person is
action agenda.
deserving
Exactly.
of their
So
spot.
if there is a certain position that needs to be occupied and there are candidates for the position, the best candidate should occupy the position. And it should not be because they're a woman or because they're a man. So if I am going for an interview with you and you present your CV for the job and I present my CV for the job and your CV is the best, you should be taken for the job. It shouldn't matter whether you're a woman or you're a man. It shouldn't matter. If you are the one who is most qualified for the job, you should be given the job. And if you were a woman, kudos. Right?
Okay, so does that mean that anytime people come up with policies like we want to make sure that in our regime we would have about 25% more women in parliament and stuff like that, it's a problem for you?
It's not necessarily a problem for me because there are many brilliant, women out there who are very capable of occupying those positions and they are qualified, for it. Even more qualified than some of the men that we see. So I will not necessarily have a problem, with it because in politics also, the reason why I would support that in politics is because in politics, a lot of the time, the women are vilified in politics and the women are put down in politics. And they don't get to certain positions because they are women, right? They more often than not, some of them are very qualified for the positions that they are supposed to occupy. But because they are women, the men who are there, do machinations and they do not get it. So then in politics, I support it. We should deliberately push women because there are a lot of women who are very qualified.
Lantam, you are really on how you are
here
and
it depends on the situation.
It really depends on
it depends on the
because
situation.
if in politics
For
you
me,
can
it depends
say
on
that,
the situation.
okay, I feel as if some women are vilified and they are not given the chance to hold certain positions, but then in certain areas, I also think that they are not necessarily supposed to be there because they don't qualify. It's almost as if there's a balance. Because you watch it, when you talk about this, it extends into certain things like even movies. You watch and then you see a character and you realize it's just diversity we wanted to bring. It's
just
not
diversity. It's not necessarily because they were the right person for the job. You get it. You get it. You catch my drift.
Okay, I do. Yeah. I catch it. It's an interesting one.
Yeah, it depends on the situation, really. It depends on the situation.
Well,
I'm all because I believe that men and women have equal rights. Women shouldn't be treated any differently than men. Of course, except for if you are in a romantic relationship with someone, then you should treat the person nicely. As a woman.
As against if you're just a random lady, but you should treat everyone nicely.
Yeah, you should. If you're in a romantic relationship with someone, you should treat her like a lady.
Oh.
Your chauvinism, should come. But if I'm a feminist, I will not be. I will not be. Is it? Did I say chauvinism? No, chivalry. Sorry, chivalry is the word I was looking for. No, chauvinistic.
You don't want to be called a chauvinist.
Chauvinism is bad. So chivalry. But if I was too much of a feminist, there will be no chivalry on my part. When you are going to sit in the car, I'll not open the door for you.
You think
feminism has killed chivalry.
This conversation.
So if I would help you to do ABC just because you're a lady and I'm helping you, I won't do it again because what a man can do and do better.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. So
I know my views this morning are being controversial, but don't worry.
Oh, they're not controversial. I actually agree with you on a number of things you said because I think there's one time I was listening to Jordan Peterson. We know he was a psychologist.
Yeah.
And he was talking about the fact that if you have an engineering company, for instance, and you say, I want 50% of them to be women and then I want 50% men, it's not realistic because the pool to pick from is larger for the men.
It's larger for the men because women naturally even gravitate towards certain professions.
Social sciences and the rest like that. And you have men doing more of this.
Exactly.
And so,
how many women bricklayers would you have if they were supposed to be bricklayers?
And he was
how
saying
many women
something
masons
about
do we even see?
If we actually want to have equality across board, are we talking about things that have to do with physical manual labor, like that as well, or we're only talking on the intellectual level? So I think it has a lot of nuances in it. But anyway, since you were talking about copyright with Spiky before, I think there's something for Did You Know there. Says that not profiting from infringement is not a defense. A lot of people, or should I not say a lot of people since I don't have the numbers, but some people think if I steal your work and I don't profit from it, you don't have to sue me. I mean, I just used it for something. I didn't get any money from it.
I still have to sue my intellectual property.
But I didn't make any money from it and did it for free. It's not, it's not a viable defense for stealing someone's hard-earned work. And then, of course, for food for thought, it says, if the whole world was blind, who will you impress? So that's it for morning and for our trends today. Thank
All
you,
right.
Lantam.
Thank you also, Etornam, Kumashie.
Here we are.